Throughout 2020, community involvement remained strong. Schools continued programs inspired by Olivia's teaching. Libraries hosted art and mentorship workshops, and local volunteers shared stories emphasizing her positive influence. The focus remained on celebrating her life and contributions, ensuring that the narrative emphasized inspiration and remembrance rather than the circumstances of her disappearance. By late 2020, investigators coordinated structured interviews with Marquez. The team approached the process ethically and methodically, presenting corroborated evidence and encouraging honest disclosure. Initially cautious, Marquez gradually acknowledged interactions with Olivia on the day of her disappearance, clarifying previously ambiguous movements and confirming the forensic connections investigators had identified. These confirmations allowed the team to reconstruct a precise sequence of events. The combination of forensic evidence, witness statements, and archival records created a comprehensive narrative, bridging the gap between 1998 and the present day. Each detail, from subtle interactions to preserved environmental traces, contributed to the complete picture. Detective Delgado emphasized careful documentation and ethical procedures. Every step was verified, cross-referenced, and recorded to ensure transparency and integrity. The case became a model of modern cold case investigation, combining meticulous archival research, technological advancement, and community engagement to resolve a decades-old mystery. By early 2021, sufficient evidence had been gathered to prepare for legal proceedings. DNA matches, fingerprints, and environmental traces provided robust corroboration, while Marquez's own admissions clarified events previously unknown. Investigators worked with prosecutors to ensure the case was comprehensive, accurate, and respectful. While the legal process moved forward, Sacramento continued to celebrate Olivia's life. Schools expanded literacy and art programs. Scholarships were created for students pursuing education and the arts, and volunteer initiatives flourished, inspired by her dedication to mentorship, creativity, and community engagement. These ongoing programs reinforced her legacy, allowing her influence to reach new generations even as the case neared resolution. By mid-2021, investigators prepared for the arrest. Detailed planning ensured a secure ethical approach, respecting the rights of all involved while maintaining procedural integrity. Coordination with federal and local authorities allowed the operation to proceed smoothly, reflecting the meticulous planning that had defined the investigation for years. The arrest, conducted in late summer 2021, was straightforward. Marquez was taken into custody and informed of the evidence against him, including preserved forensic material and documented admissions. Law enforcement emphasized clarity, professionalism, and respect throughout the process, ensuring that the focus remained on truth, resolution, and the legacy of Olivia Harper. Following the arrest, the case file was meticulously organized for prosecution. Every piece of evidence, witness statement, and historical record was documented and verified. The integrity of the investigation demonstrated the importance of preserving details, maintaining ethical standards, and combining forensic science with careful archival research. Community engagement continued alongside legal proceedings. Schools hosted art and literacy programs. Libraries offered mentorship workshops, and volunteer organizations shared stories of Olivia's life and positive impact. Each initiative emphasized the values she had embodied: creativity, dedication, and a commitment to nurturing growth and learning. Detective Delgado reflected on the case's significance. Decades of careful preservation, ethical investigation, and application of modern forensic techniques had finally revealed the truth. The community support and the continued celebration of Olivia's life had reinforced the importance of maintaining focus on legacy while pursuing resolution. By early 2022, the prosecution was ready to move forward. DNA evidence, witness statements, environmental analysis, and Marquez's own admissions formed a clear, robust case. The groundwork laid over more than 20 years ensured a smooth transition into trial. demonstrating that patient, methodical investigation could resolve even long-standing mysteries. The Harper family expanded community initiatives in Olivia's honor. Scholarships for education and art students, mentorship programs for young volunteers, and public workshops ensured that her influence continued to reach and inspire. Annual programs celebrated her dedication, creativity, and positive impact, ensuring that her story remained central to the city's cultural and educational life. By mid-2022, trial preparations were complete. Investigators and prosecutors reviewed every detail, cross-referenced all evidence, and ensured that Olivia's life and legacy remained at the forefront. The combination of confession, forensic corroboration, and historical documentation created a compelling and respectful narrative for the courtroom. By early 2023, the trial of Gideon Marquez had begun, drawing attention not for sensationalism, but for the inspiring story of Olivia Harper, a young teacher whose life had touched countless students and whose dedication to creativity and mentorship had left a lasting mark on Sacramento. Detective Marcus Delgado prepared meticulously, ensuring that every detail of the decades-long investigation was documented clearly. DNA evidence, fingerprints, preserved environmental samples, and witness statements were all compiled into a coherent narrative. Each element of evidence was tied to verified facts, forming a respectful and accurate account of the events. The Harper family, Thomas, Miriam, and Clara Harper, attended each session with quiet dignity. They shared stories of Olivia's character, emphasizing her dedication to her students, her creativity, and her ability to inspire and nurture those around her. Friends, colleagues, and former students provided testimony, highlighting the positive influence she had exerted through teaching, mentorship, and volunteer work. Prosecutors presented the case with clarity, focusing on documented evidence and the reconstructed timeline of Olivia's last day. Forensic evidence combined with Marquez's own admissions provided compelling verification of events. Detective Delgado highlighted the importance of preserving evidence over time, illustrating how modern technology could uncover truth even decades later. Inside and outside the courtroom, Olivia's life remained the central focus. Schools and community programs continued initiatives inspired by her legacy. Art workshops, literacy programs, mentorship opportunities, and volunteer activities. Students created paintings, essays, and community projects celebrating her creativity and dedication. Libraries hosted exhibitions of student work inspired by Olivia's teaching, further reinforcing her lasting impact. By mid-2023, the trial concluded successfully. Marquez's confession, backed by strong forensic evidence, provided closure for the Harper family and clarity for the community. The case exemplified the value of patience, dedication, and ethical investigation in resolving long-standing mysteries. Throughout the trial, the Harper family emphasized remembrance and celebration. They expanded the Olivia Harper Arts and Literacy Fund, offering scholarships to students pursuing education, arts, and mentorship. Community workshops and volunteer programs continued to flourish, ensuring Olivia's positive influence extended well beyond her lifetime. Annual events in her honor became a cornerstone of Sacramento's community life. The local art gallery, where she had last been seen, established educational corners with resources for students and volunteers. Public programs encouraged creativity, mentorship, and engagement with the arts, allowing Olivia's legacy to thrive across generations. Detective Delgado reflected on the broader significance of the case. This investigation demonstrates that decades of dedication, careful preservation, and ethical procedures can uncover truth. Most importantly, we honored Olivia's life every step of the way. Her story guided us, he said. Schools and community organizations reported growing participation in programs inspired by Olivia. Students engaged in art projects, literacy workshops, and mentorship initiatives, developing skills and confidence. Healthcare, education, and volunteer organizations adopted her values of encouragement, empathy, and persistence, ensuring her legacy influenced diverse areas of community life. By late 2023, Olivia's presence could be felt in classrooms, libraries, and local workshops throughout Sacramento. Children and teens participating in programs inspired by her story demonstrated creativity, curiosity, and compassion, a living tribute to her influence. Volunteers shared stories of her dedication, ensuring her memory remained a source of inspiration and guidance. The Harper family, while relieved by legal resolution, focused on sustaining programs that reflected Olivia's values. Scholarships, mentorship initiatives, and community workshops grew each year, creating opportunities for students and volunteers to embody the principles she had championed. Her life became a model of positive impact, demonstrating that commitment, dedication, and kindness could transform communities. By early 2024, Sacramento had fully embraced Olivia Harper's legacy. Libraries featured annual art exhibitions, schools hosted workshops, and volunteer organizations engaged in outreach programs. Her influence had extended beyond the classroom, shaping values, creativity, and mentorship across the city. Detective Delgado emphasized the importance of ethical investigation in resolving long-term cases. By combining archival research, forensic advancements, and community engagement, law enforcement not only uncovered the truth, but also preserved the dignity and memory of the individual at the heart of the case. In quiet moments, families, students, and volunteers reflected on Olivia Harper's life. Her dedication, creativity, and nurturing spirit were evident in every program inspired by her. Riverwalk parks, community centers, and schools became spaces where her legacy could flourish, encouraging learning, growth, and service. The resolution of the cold case marked not an end, but a continuation of Olivia's influence. Through educational programs, community workshops, and volunteer initiatives, her life continued to shape the city's values. Sacramento had transformed decades of uncertainty into an enduring story of inspiration, mentorship, and positive action. Olivia Harper's story became a beacon of hope for communities facing unresolved challenges. It demonstrated that careful investigation, preservation of evidence, and ethical procedures could provide clarity even after decades. More importantly, it highlighted that celebrating a person's life and positive contributions could transform grief into inspiration, ensuring that legacies endure beyond their physical presence. By mid-2024, students across Sacramento shared art and literacy projects inspired by Olivia. Volunteers engaged in mentorship initiatives, and local programs celebrated creativity and dedication. Her life had become an enduring source of guidance and inspiration, shaping values, actions, and perspectives across the city. The California 1998 cold case had finally reached resolution, but Olivia Harper's story continued to thrive. Her dedication, compassion, and creativity had left an indelible mark on Sacramento. Through community programs, mentorship opportunities, and educational initiatives, her legacy lived on, a reminder that a single life, when lived with purpose and care, could inspire countless others and leave a lasting, positive imprint on the world. It was a humid, sunlit morning in Tallahassee, Florida, 1987. The city buzzed with the energy of students and government workers, the streets alive with the scent of orange blossoms and the distant hum of traffic. Among the residents, Marina Delgado, 24, was preparing for her day as a dedicated early childhood educator at the Tallahassee Learning Center. Marina was known for her patience, creativity, and the ability to make every child feel important. Her classroom was filled with vibrant colors, handmade projects, and a sense of warmth that reflected her own personality. Families and colleagues admired her dedication, noting the joy she brought to learning and her capacity to inspire curiosity and confidence in the children under her care. Outside the classroom, Marina led a life full of simple pleasures. She enjoyed visiting local art galleries, kayaking along nearby rivers, and volunteering with community youth programs. Her small apartment reflected her creative spirit, adorned with paintings, books, and personal mementos from her students and friends. She nurtured her community as much as she did her classroom, and her presence was quietly influential. On June 10, 1987, Marina had planned to visit the Tallahassee Public Library to finalize materials for an upcoming educational program. She carried a notebook, teaching aids, and a small tote containing her work documents. Her plans were routine yet purposeful, reflecting the structured and positive approach she applied to both her work and personal life. By late afternoon, Marina had not returned home. Her roommate, Vanessa Torres, contacted her family, concerned. Marina's parents, Javier and Elena Delgado, and her younger brother, Luis Delgado, went to her apartment. Everything appeared orderly. Her notebook lay open on the dining table, teaching materials neatly arranged and personal items untouched. Yet her absence was unmistakable, casting a quiet tension over the space that had always been warm and lively. Police from the Tallahassee Police Department, led by Detective Marissa Cole, were dispatched to investigate. Initial observations revealed no signs of forced entry or disturbance. Investigators canvassed the neighborhood, spoke with library staff, local cafe employees, and reviewed surveillance footage where available. Volunteers and community members joined in distributing flyers and sharing details about Marina's routine, emphasizing hope and support. Witness statements provided limited clarity. Marina's structured lifestyle, calm demeanor, and positive reputation meant there were no known conflicts or disputes that could explain her absence. Yet the community's concern remained high. Local parents, students, and colleagues organized search efforts, creating a supportive network determined to ensure her safe return. Weeks passed without a definitive lead. Detective Cole's team reviewed archival footage, photographs, and interviews with friends and coworkers. Every detail, no matter how minor, was meticulously documented. The investigation focused not on speculation but on facts, tracing Marina's last known movements and interactions. By 1988, the case had transitioned into a monitored cold case. Key evidence, including Marina's notebook, teaching materials, and personal belongings, was carefully preserved. Community programs in her honor began to emerge. The Marina Delgado Educational Fund provided scholarships, art workshops, and mentorship opportunities for children, ensuring her dedication to learning and community continued despite the unresolved investigation. Over the following years, forensic technology evolved. Items preserved from Marina's last day were periodically re-examined. DNA analysis, fingerprint comparison, and environmental sampling became increasingly sophisticated, offering new avenues for investigation that had not existed in 1987. Detective Cole retired in 2000, passing the case to Detective Nathaniel Rivera, renowned for his dedication to long-term cold cases. Rivera prioritized a meticulous review of all evidence, emphasizing the importance of preserving Marina's legacy and community trust while pursuing leads. By 2010, previously overlooked details emerged from archival records, library visitor logs, minor transactions, and notes in Marina's teaching notebook. These forgotten records indicated interactions that had not been fully explored. One librarian, Patricia Monroe, who had been present on the day Marina visited the library, recalled subtle events that helped clarify her movements and interactions. Through careful reconstruction, investigators charted Marina's route from her apartment to the library, noting subtle patterns and environmental traces. Combined with modern forensic techniques, these small but critical details began to form a clearer picture of her day and potential interactions. Community initiatives remained central. Schools implemented programs inspired by Marina's teaching methods. Literacy workshops encouraged creativity, and volunteer organizations expanded mentorship programs for youth. The focus remained on positive impact and remembrance, celebrating her life rather than dwelling on uncertainty. By 2015, DNA analysis of preserved materials, revealed minute traces that had previously been undetectable. When cross-referenced with archived records, these traces suggested contact with a local individual who had not been previously considered. Damon Caldwell, a contractor and occasional volunteer at community programs near the library and learning center. Detective Rivera approached the investigation with care. Employment records, neighborhood logs, and community recollections allowed the team to reconstruct Caldwell's presence during the relevant period. Each observation, testimonial, and piece of forensic evidence was carefully documented to maintain ethical integrity and respect for Marina's memory. By 2017, environmental samples, fingerprints, and trace evidence from Marina's preserved items confirmed subtle connections to Caldwell. Each detail strengthened the case, forming a verifiable chain of evidence. Investigators coordinated structured interviews with Caldwell, emphasizing transparency, ethical procedure, and professional conduct. Initially cautious, Caldwell gradually acknowledged interactions with Marina on the day of her visit to the library, clarifying previously ambiguous details and helping investigators reconstruct a more complete timeline. By mid-2018, the investigation had assembled a comprehensive timeline. Archival records, forensic evidence, and witness testimony combined to create a coherent narrative. Every movement, interaction, and preserved artifact contributed to understanding events that had remained unresolved for over 3 decades. The community continued to honor Marina's legacy through ongoing educational programs. Schools and libraries expanded arts and literacy initiatives, volunteer mentorships flourished, and public workshops highlighted her dedication to nurturing creativity, learning, and growth. Her influence remained a source of inspiration as investigators worked toward resolution. By early 2019, the groundwork for legal action was being prepared. DNA evidence, fingerprints, and corroborated testimony formed a strong evidentiary foundation. Detective Rivera coordinated with prosecutors to ensure a clear, ethical, and verifiable case, emphasizing the importance of honoring Marina's memory throughout the process. By late 2019, Detective Nathaniel Rivera and his team had meticulously reconstructed Damon Caldwell's presence near key locations in Tallahassee during 1987. Employment records, neighborhood logs, and archival documents indicated his temporary work assignments near the Tallahassee Learning Center and surrounding areas. These records, combined with testimonies from former colleagues and neighbors, allowed investigators to track his movements in detail. Community members who had known Caldwell described him as a quiet, orderly individual, diligent in his work and polite in his interactions. While there had been no documented conflict or concern at the time, subtle patterns emerged from overlapping timelines and corroborated eyewitness observations. Each piece of information contributed to the larger reconstruction of events, aligning with the preserved forensic evidence. Sophia's preserved belongings, including her notebook, teaching aids, and tote bag, became central to the investigation. Advanced forensic testing revealed fingerprints and trace fibers linking Caldwell to her possessions. Environmental samples from the Learning Center and library reinforced the timeline, creating a cohesive picture that connected the preserved materials to actual events. Community engagement continued to play a vital role. Schools and volunteer programs expanded educational and arts initiatives inspired by Marina Delgado's teaching. Local libraries hosted creative workshops and youth mentorship programs flourished. The emphasis remained on celebrating her life and positive influence, reinforcing a legacy of growth, creativity, and mentorship alongside the ongoing investigation. By early 2020, forensic breakthroughs provided additional clarity. DNA traces, previously undetectable in the 1980s, were now identifiable. Fingerprints matched archival records, and environmental traces confirmed Caldwell's presence near areas Marina had frequented. The combination of modern forensic science, archival investigation, and careful witness interviews formed a compelling evidentiary framework.